Hi, and welcome to NEWSWIRE LA. I'm your host, Chin THAMMASAENGSRI. Tonight we're at Los Angeles City Hall and we're on the 26th floor. We are here tonight at a reception honoring the late Tom Bradley and the Divine Nine organizations. Those organizations are made up of several fraternities that are popular in the African American community. So stick around and find out more about these fraternities and what they do throughout the city. All of that and more after the credits. Tonight we're coming to you from downtown Los Angeles. We'll be attending a private event that will honor LA's legendary mayor, Tom Bradley, along with celebrating the legacy of the African American Greek letter organizations known as the Divine Nine. Let's head up to the 26th floor of Los Angeles City Hall, where the event is being held in a room aptly named the Tom Bradley Room. The room has been adorned with food, drink, and lots of music to dance to. Those who are gathered here tonight represent mostly those Divine Nine fraternities and sororities. By the way, in case you're wondering what exactly are the Divine Nine, we'll define that for you later in the show. Tonight's Mistress of Ceremonies is Brandy CHAPPELL, who is a PR and communications specialist. She is also a member of a Divine Nine entity, which makes her a perfect choice for tonight's event leader. Let's go to Brandy CHAPPELL, who is kicking off tonight's festivities.
Well, I would like to thank all of you for being here. This event was intended to be a very intimate reception. We made it a point to invite people that we believe are fully bought into the idea of preserving legacy and culture. So who better to call than representatives from Divine Nine organizations, Black serving agencies, and the greater public that all have an appreciation for both giving back and also for Mayor Tom Bradley and the host of elected officials that you see renditions of posted on the walls. I've had the opportunity to explain a couple of things about this evening to some of the guests, but not to you all. So I'm going to take the time to do that now. What you'll see, all of the panels that are on top of the awnings in this space, which is wonderfully named after Los Angeles' first African-American mayor, longest sitting African-American or mayor period in the city of Los Angeles. Mayor Bradley was in office for 20 years. So what better way, and well, he was in public service for a lot longer than that, most of us know, but I won't go there yet, that's coming next. What I want to make sure to draw attention to right now are the crests. All of the crests in this room, for those of you that are not in Black Greek letter organizations, are representations of our shared experiences, so we have different points of origin. We can't tell you what they mean, and we won't, but they mean something significant to everyone in this room. In addition to that, we've had the paintings, 10 paintings commissioned of Black elected officials that have represented Los Angeles County and that are members of were members of Black Greek letter organizations.
One of the most defining elements of African American culture is storytelling. It dates even farther back to our roots in Africa. Here you can see Michael Dolphin, who's talking about Central Avenue and telling the stories of its impact on blacks in Los Angeles. Next up is Dr. King, who is seen here talking about tonight's honoree, the late Tom Bradley. Dr. King is talking about Tom Bradley's legacy and history in the great city of Los Angeles. Let's break away and go to some special guests who are going to tell us exactly what the Divine Nine organizations really are. All right, Chin THAMMASAENGSRI, NEWSWIRE LA, and I am here with
James Batiste, Polmark, Los Angeles Alumni Chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi.
And
Dr. Carlton Blanton, past Polmark of LA Alumni, Kappa Alpha Psi, Fraternity Incorporated.
can you define the Divine Nine for me?
Well, Divine Nine is an organization that takes a broader look at the relationship between fraternities, sororities, and what I like to call the human race. The fraternities, sororities provided a platform for educated black men and black women to actually utilize their skills. Whereas in today's, as Dr. Blanton mentioned, that one of our founders was forced to sit outside the classroom in order to hear the lecture. In today's environment, in corporate America, a lot of blacks are still forced to sit outside in order to hear the lecture, so to speak. What the fraternities and sororities provide is an opportunity for these individuals to utilize those skills that they're not allowed to utilize in corporate America. And I think that's their biggest asset that they provide. Not only does it give them a ground to practice on, to showcase their skills, but it also gives them the confidence to take those skills into corporate America and to make a stand and a push to say that we deserve to be here also, and we have something to offer. So I think the Divine Nine really pushes that and supports that, and they give that platform that allows those individuals to essentially excel.
For those of us who aren't part of a fraternity, and I am feeling a little bit lonely up there because I am not part of a fraternity, I want to find out from you gentlemen just the impact that the fraternities have had, especially when it comes to African Americans. And it seems like it is a very important part of our culture. Talk to me a little bit about that and the fraternities' place, the fraternities and the sororities' place.
Well, I think for African Americans, it was absolutely necessary for something like a fraternal organization. Believe it or not, at one time, blacks could not join the Masons. I mean, you know, the Scottish Rite Masons, and I'm not sure they could, I think they can today, but it was quite a long time before they could join the Scottish Rite Mason. So they started Prince Hall Masons. But the Masons were not necessarily college men. You know, so when college men on the campus of the major universities throughout America, they had white fraternities. So eventually, the blacks couldn't join the white fraternities. So eventually, they started the Divine Nine organization, 4 fraternities, 5 sororities. So I remember a story about the Kappa fraternity at Indiana University, where it was founded. Byron K. Armstrong, one of the founders, had a PhD in mathematics at age 21. But in going to class, the rules of Indiana at that time, if there was a white woman in the classroom, he had to sit in the hall and listen to the lecture. But yet he graduated with honors. I mean, when you hear stories like that, I mean, it was inspiring for young men like us. You say, man, I want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? So every opportunity of people who wanted to achieve and aspire to greater things, you would try to get into those kind of organizations.
Talk to me about one of the honorees tonight, the late Tom Bradley, of course.
I could talk about Tom Bradley for the rest of my life. You know, absolutely. I've met many great people, both black, white, Hispanic, whatever. But I think Tom Bradley is at the top of my list. I worked in Tom's first campaign for City Council of the 10th District. And of course, at that time, I was in the fraternity and I knew him. He was rising in the fraternity up the ranks, all the way up to national president. And during the time when I was in college and undergrad and a graduate student, and then even after I was employed on the faculty at California State University, Los Angeles, he was a great help to me. And I was just telling Brother Batiste, the Black and White Committee, the Black and White is a great social event that we have in November every year. It's kind of the beginning of the social season right around Thanksgiving. And I'd been there many times as a college student, watching Tom Bradley and Bob Green and people like that. So we would come to Tom's office, in the mayor's office, and take the picture, the committee picture for the black and white that year, you know, and that was a big event for us. And I was telling him, I'm going to have to look some of those pictures up and frame them and put it in the Capitol House, you know. But Tom was a Renaissance man. I was able to go over to his mansion over there on 6th Street when he was mayor, you know, and he invited us in. It was just like you were at home. He said, there's the bar, you know, there's the food, you know, help yourself, you know. And he just very relaxed, you know, put everybody at ease, you know, and none of this, you know, posturing, you know, and pretense, you know, that you see so much today, you know. Just a gentleman in every sense of the word, but a hard worker, very disciplined. You know, I never forget, we wanted him to do something, and he said, no, he says, I'm sorry, Carl. He says, the campaign is starting. And I understood, you know what I mean? And he was successful.
What would you say to those young African Americans who say, well, I don't need to be a part of that? What would you say to counter that mode of thought?
Well, I would merely point to some of the things that we're doing in honor of Tom Bradley. In order to keep his legacy going, we've established what we call our Tom Bradley Invitational Golf Tournament, which is in its 7th or 8th year now, where his daughter, Lorraine Bradley, comes out and plays and participates. And that is one avenue. The second avenue, and probably a bigger picture type avenue, is the establishment of the Tom Bradley Community Service Center. And that is located right next to the Kappa House today, where we own both properties. So we're in the process now with Councilman Bob Farrell and the guidance of Dr. Blanton to establish that community service center in his honor in order to take that legacy forward. And with that, we plan to bring in a lot of the young African Americans who may not remember him, but who give them the opportunity to get employment, to work community service hours, things of that nature, so that they can understand where it's all coming from and they can connect the dots.
Dr. Blanton.
Yes, what I would simply say to the young people, and I do every opportunity that I get, is to keep your mind open. You know what I mean? Take a look. Come take a look at us, ask questions, examine, you know, the history of the Divine Nine organization, the fraternities. And I have found it absolutely essential in terms of my rise up to whatever height I've reached. And some people say I've reached great heights. I'm not patting myself on the back and thing, but I enjoyed it, and I'm very satisfied with my career. And I would give the fraternity great deal of credit for that. One of the things when I received my doctorate from USC, and it took me a little while, but one of the things that I told another person who was struggling trying to receive theirs is that every time I would come to the fraternity and they would say, well, this is Dr. So-and-so, and this is Dr. So-and-so, and this is Dr. So-and-so, I said, I got to hurry up and get mine, so they'd be saying, this is Dr. Blanton, you understand? So I did that, and I always said that when you see people around you achieving, it kind of makes you want to achieve also. And that's the fundamental purpose of Kappa Alpha Psi, is achievement. And Tom Bradley personified it, and a lot of the others like Bob Green, Mervyn Dimley, Bob Farrell, all those people that I watch, you know, them come up through the ranks, and it always made me feel good. I was a basketball player, and when I would see people like Bill Russell and Oscar Roberts, you know, people like that who were Kappas, you know, it made me feel good, you know.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. That was an enlightening talk.
Thank you for having us.
Brandy Chappell is introducing Lynn Goldfarb, a filmmaker with an upcoming documentary film on tonight's honoree, Tom Bradley.
So now we'll turn the program over so you can view Mayor Bradley as we all knew him, and then you'll have a brief chance to talk with Lynn Goldfarb, the director and producer.
This is Chin THAMMASAENGSRI of NEWSWIRE Los Angeles, and I am standing here right now with Lynn Goldfarb, the filmmaker behind the new Tom Bradley film. Thank you for joining us, Lynn.
Oh, I really appreciate it. It's been a nice evening.
Is this the first showing of your film? Give me an idea of what inspired you to do a film on this particular subject, being Tom Bradley.
Well, actually, it was there's two of us that are the producers of this film, myself and Allison Sotomayor. And both of us grew up in LA, And we really realized that the transformation of Los Angeles started with Tom Bradley, and nobody knew anything about it. And I had produced a film prior to this called The New Los Angeles, which really looked at the transformation of LA, beginning with Bradley and concluding with the election of Villaraigosa. But when we did that film, we realized there was a whole nother big story about Tom Bradley, and we felt he was significant enough that we should tell the story. We should make sure it's not forgotten. We should look at the lessons of who Tom Bradley was and what he accomplished, and make sure that future generations and the rest of the nation know about it. I think what really inspired me about Tom Bradley is that he decided to run for mayor in 1969. Now, the 68 and 69 were some of the most tumultuous periods in our history. The anti-war movement, it was the, people protested against the war. There were student demonstrations, the Black Panthers. Martin Luther King had been assassinated. Kennedy had been assassinated. And it was really a point of change and protest. And in that moment, Tom Bradley, an African-American man in a city where the African-American population was less than 18%, decided that this was the time for him to become mayor, to defeat Sam Yorty, who had been the previous mayor. And he believed he could do it. And in 69, he almost won. And then he came back in 73 and won. So I think it's a story of really the audacity. We talk about, Barack Obama, kind of in his whole thing, the audacity of him becoming president. Well, Barack Obama really stood on Tom Bradley's shoulders, because what Tom Bradley did in winning the election, becoming mayor in Los Angeles, was showing that minorities could achieve political office in cities where they were a minority by joining together in coalitions. And that changed the whole political culture from that point onward.
And what's the timeline for this film? You said it was a work in progress. What's going to happen from here, and where can we see it after that?
Well, our goal is to have it finished by this summer, and it'll be broadcast nationally on PBS at that point. But we still have the challenge of fundraising. We're working on it, and we have our fingers crossed, and we'll certainly let you know.
All right. And just for the record, give us the proper title of that film.
The film is called Bridging the Divide, Tom Bradley and the Politics of Race. And then the other thing I want to mention is we do actually have a secondary project that we are working on, and it's called Tom Bradley's Life and Legacy, and it is a shorter film that will be introduced in the schools of Los Angeles for 11th and 12th grade high school students.
Where can the viewers go to find out more about this film and all the projects related to it?
To our website, which is mayortombradley.com. Simple website.
Lynn Goldfarb, thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you.
Now joining the program is 9th District Los Angeles City Councilwoman Jan Perry. Jan most recently was one of several candidates vying for the position of mayor. Tonight, however, she's here to honor the memory of Tom Bradley.